All right, I'm recording. Okay, so this was the test that you guys got, and it was a very nice test, testing all sorts of things that we did, especially for the first part of this word lesson. Um, I I think this is actually so nice, a nice exercise if you want to see if you know your stuff. Ooh, what am I doing here? Sure, I'm pressing something on my husband's computer. He's got a lot of screens open here. He's most a IT junkie. Okay, so I'm gonna do this with you guys, starting from the first one. So the very first instruction said correct the spelling mistakes, and that was quite easy because every time you saw an underlined word, you just quickly had to right click on it and you had to fix it. Now this one you couldn't fix because you just had to put in a space, and of course kittens was a spelling mistake, spaces, fun, and that was it. It doesn't look like that's a mistake. Lots of open spaces to explore. So in the exam, I will probably do the same. I'll probably give you the document. If there's something to correct, you'll correct it. I'm not promising that I'm giving you the document, but it does save some time. I think you guys finished your test way earlier than, not way earlier, but you were able to do it well before the cutoff time. But it is a bit worrisome if you took longer than 1.5 hours, because in the exam you're going to get 4 different questions of the same length than each of these, and you have only 3 hours to complete the whole exam. Depending how many questions I give you, I'm thinking about giving you 2 word questions, one for the research part and one for the rest. So if you were struggling a little bit with time, you must try and focus or try and practice more so that you don't take so much time. Okay, that is just something that I'm throwing in there because you're going to write in the lab and the supervisor is not going to say, oh shame, you had load shedding, or oh this happened or that happened, and there's not going to be a way for you to finish your test. Always start with the question that is the easiest. There's absolutely no reason why you should start with question 1. If PowerPoint is your Achilles heel, then don't start with PowerPoint. Start with Word if that is something that you like. I've noticed that a lot of students leave Excel for last. So if you are struggling with Excel, leave it for last. Some leave Access for last. It is also the last question, but you must decide what works for you. Okay, so I fixed my spelling mistakes for 1 point. You notice that I fixed a few more than one, but it was just for 1 point because you basically just had to right click. We had to change the theme. Luckily it was something that we were able to have on our computers, most of you. There's only one student who didn't have it. Okay. So I changed my theme to damask. Remember, you must change your theme in order for you to have the colors available. Colors was an issue in this test. I noticed it was an issue, but we're going to get there now. Okay, now the step 3 or question 3 says center the headline, center the kitten caretaker specs, and signature line. So there are 3 things that you had to center, 1 mark for each. Okay, so a headline is always the first one. So I'm selecting the headline and I'm centering that. Then it said also center the kitten caretaker specs, which is this one. All right. And then it says the signature line. A signature is also the last thing you put on a letter or whatever. So that is why it tells you it will be the last line of your document. It's not a signature at all, but it's called a signature line because it's the last line. Okay. So that altogether would have gotten you 3 marks. If you didn't do all but 1 or 2, you would have gotten 1 or 2 marks. So just always keep in mind, or always have a look at the marks. If you see 3 points, but you only did one thing, you should just carefully read again and see if you didn't maybe miss something. Okay. Step 4 said change the font size of the headline to 48. Okay, so that is the first thing that I'll do. The headline being the first line, And they want us to change it to 48. So I'm going to enter 48, enter. And they wanted us to change the font to Lucida, right? So it's Lucida handwriting. And I'm scrolling down, selecting Lucida handwriting. My headline is still selected, so I can still keep going with these instructions. The next instruction says bold the headline. So I'm now bolding the headline. We're not done. We've only done 3 things so far. The next thing they want us to do with this headline is change the font color to orange accent 6. So that's the next thing. Remember, font color being the A that is underlined. So I'm scrolling over to orange accent 6. Now comes the one thing that I see more than half of you didn't get right. Shade the headline paragraph. This doesn't look like a paragraph, but a paragraph is basically a block of text. Okay, that block can be a 1-line thing, it can be many lines, but this, they specifically said the headline paragraph. So that means all the words in the headline has to be shaded. What does it mean when you shade something? Shade is this button where you put a background color in, right? So when you put your mouse on this bucket, you also see shading. Change the color behind the text, all right? This is especially useful when you want information to jump off the page. That is so strange. Anyway, so we are choosing a shade color and we are selecting lavender accent 4, lavender being purple. So lavender accent 4, but not that specific one. We are looking for darker 25%. And this will be it. Okay. So all of that which you have done now would have given you 5 points. First, it was the font size, then the font, then bold, then the color of the font, and then the shadow or the shade. So all of that would give you 5 points. So when they say shade, you just head on over to this bucket. Now they are talking about the body. Okay. Now it says change the font size of the body between the headline and the signature line. Now that would mean everything between the headline and the signature line. Yes, also the little heading that says caretaker specs, because they specifically said everything in between the headline and the signature line, and that means all of this. So what must we do with that? We must change it to 24 points. And more than that, Rockwell. So Rockwell. Okay, so now we have got all of that there. And you're seeing that our little flyer is starting to look a little bit better than just that tiny little paragraph at the top. So that would have gotten you 2 points. Now we're going to the signature line. Okay, so since we are selecting the signature line, or going to change it, I'm selecting the whole signature line, which is the last sentence or last line of our document. And it says change the font size of the signature line to 22. I should just maybe mention this. Some of you did not change the body to 24 Rockwell, but you did change, let's say, the bullets or only the caretaker specs or something else. So if you see that you got a mark there for changing that, that is because you did change something to 24 and Rockwell. Not everything. I think I may have said -1 or something, but it is between this and this, even though it's not everything. But in the exam, it's going to be a lot stricter. So I can't give you marks for that in the exam. But for now, if you did change a little bit of the text to Rockwell 24, then you would have gotten a mark. I was feeling generous. Okay, so the signature line, 22 points, and the font to Lucida, handwriting. Okay, and then bold the text, so that would have been 3 points. And now we are changing the font color to lavender accent 4, darker 50. So you will notice that my text is selected the whole time because I'm making changes to it the whole time. So I'm looking for 50. Here we go. So it's going to be lavender accent 4 darker 50. And they say use change case to change that text to uppercase. And you do that by going to change case. And we did change case, I think, when we did that baseball guy, the one that the revision in there. So go and watch that video if you missed that. So I'm clicking on the arrow and I'm just clicking on uppercase, which will become capital letters. So all of that, 5 points. Okay, so bullet the 3 paragraphs of text above the signature line. Once again, can you see that they refer to a line as a paragraph? So they are saying the 3 paragraphs above the signature line. That means these 3 lines. And they say bullet. They did not say which bullet. So I'm just going to go ahead and press the regular bullet. They also didn't say that we should align it somewhere. So you can just let it go default. You don't have to worry about it's being spaced all over the place. Then step 8, italicize the word fun. Okay, so if you want to select a word, I'm not sure if I've said this before, but you can just double click on a word. And how do I select a sentence? I triple click. Did you know that? How do I select also a sentence? I go to the white arrow. You can see my arrow is now white on the left, and I just click the line, and it will also select the whole line, by the way, just in case you didn't know that. So if you want to select a single word, double click, a sentence, triple click. Okay, but we just want to select fun, and fun must be italics, so I'm changing it to italics. The word good must be bold, so once again you can just double click. And then this one, only one person got right. 1 or 2 of you guys got right. So I'm sensing you guys don't know how to double underline. So I'm going to show you now. We are supposed to double underline October. So you will select October. By the way, this is also in that revision video. So go ahead and watch this, the one with the baseball. In that video, we didn't double underline, we cursive underline, but it's the same way. So when you select October and you click here next to underline, you will see all sorts of different ways you can underline. So in that one, we did the cursive one, and we also changed the color of the cursive one, which you can do over here. So go and watch this video again before the exam, just in case you forget. Now in this case, they say we should double underline. So we're just going to choose the second one that's going to say double underline. All right, so for those 5 of you who didn't get it right, go and watch the video. Okay, so now we're going to go and say shade the kitten caretaker specs paragraph, and that would be this whole line. And they want us to shade it. So remember, always shading means bucket. So you're going to go to the bucket and you're going to choose lavender accent 4 darker 25. That one is darker 40. This one is darker 25. The next sentence is the interesting one. It says that, and I should have let it count 2, and afterwards I thought I should have said it's 2 marks, because you're not really asked to do something here, but it says if the font does not automatically change to a lighter color, change it to white. Okay, so it didn't change to a lighter color automatically, so you had to change it to white. And I think a lot of you guys, only one, I think, got it right. 1 or 2 of you got it right. So just never stop reading the instruction halfway. Just read it all the way through. But you only got 1 mark. So if you did manage to do the shading right, you would have gotten your mark. Okay. The other one, in retrospect, I should have added another mark. Insert the 2 pictures. Oh, this was interesting. Okay, you guys would notice there's a blank line here, and I can show you that blank line if I click on show hide. And you will see here where there's that pillar picture. That means there's a blank line. And it wanted you to insert those 2 kitten pictures here in this blank line. And how do you know it's in the same line? Because it says insert the 2 pictures centered on a blank line below the headline. So both pictures had to be centered in the same line on there. Okay, so let's go and look for those pictures. Where am I going? Insert pictures. desktop, new folder, kitten one, insert. Okay, now you may not be able to insert the other one next to it, and I'll show you. Let's see if we can, and then we'll work from there. Kitten 2. Okay. In this case, it was easy to insert it, but if it wasn't coming up next to the other one, you just had to go and play around with text wrap. Okay, so you would have had to say tight or square or something like that. So in this case, it did allow us to insert the two pictures next to each other. But if in your case it did not, just click on the picture and head on over here and see which one of these will allow me. It's obviously not going to be through top and bottom and whatnot. It's either going to be square or tight, and I'm thinking it's going to be tight. Because whenever I do stuff for my summer school class and I want to fit as many pictures as I can on a page, I would say tight, and that allows me to actually drag the picture and just dump it wherever I want. So if yours didn't happen like that, then just go to text wrap. In this case, it worked out well, and they want us to resize these pictures to 2.13 inches approximately. Okay, now sizing these pictures may change, and we'll see later on how it could possibly change. Okay, so I'm just entering here 1 3 inches. Okay, and this one the same. You will notice that I'm not changing the horizontal one because it wouldn't matter. 2.84 inches. Okay. So now we're going to still do some effects. So you would see I'm not minding these things at the moment. Okay, I'm going to just I made the second one the height. Sorry, let me just they're supposed to be the same size. Yeah, don't do what I did. I went to the second size for the second picture. It's not. Okay, you will also notice that if you enter both, it doesn't matter. Let me do that. 2.13 inches. I'm putting that here in the first one. Enter. And now in the second one, I'm putting 2.84 inches. And you will see nothing happened. Okay, so often I would also just, when you guys write a test and I look at it, I will also only enter the first one. Okay, so we resized them now, and they are not centered yet. So let's center, because it does say insert the two pictures centered. Okay, so I'm going here, center and center. Well, when I did that, it did win. Okay. Okay, let me just take shade off. Now the next instruction says resize the picture so that, okay, I did that. Apply the metal frame to both pictures. Okay, so the metal frame is this one over here. Also doing it here. Okay, and now you will notice that they changed again, but they are saying later on that we should resize it to make it fit on one page, but we'll do that afterwards. So let's first do the rotation. It might change things a little bit. So we are selecting picture effects, 3D rotation, off axis 1 right. Sure, I never know which one to choose. Is this? No, it's not that. Okay, this is the right one. So let's go and choose the left one for the other one. No, 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 no. Left. Is it that one? Yes. Okay, so we have applied the rotation effects. It's still centered, but now it says the entire flyer should fit on one page, and if it doesn't, resize the pictures. So ours doesn't fit anymore, as you can see, and that is why we are now resizing the photos. Okay, so resizing both to be more or less the same. Okay, so if you had something like this, it would be fine. Is it on one page now? Yes. Okay, so 1 point each for rotation and 1 point for the metal frame. Okay, the entire flyer should fit on one page, and they still said you should go and view 100% one page to see if it does. It does. and then it says add the indicated page border, and I inserted a little I inserted that there because it didn't give the name of the page border, looked like that. So I just went ahead and I selected that. So we are choosing one that looks like this. Okay. So it is the thin line, thick line, thin line. So that would be the style. And the color is lavender. That's lavender accent 4. What's that? Purple. In fact, when I marked your stuff, I didn't even look at the exact. If it's purple, it was fine. Yeah. And we're applying it. All right. And that was the very last instruction. And all of this together counted 30 marks. Okay, so then you just had to look. Don't add stuff, even though you think, oh, I think if I did created this or thought of the instructions, I would have inserted an enter over here to pull out this one a little bit more, and I would have done this or that differently. But anyway, that was not for me to decide. So yeah, this is the test, and I think it was fair. I think all of you will get it right next time. The first time is always a little bit nervous, and you don't know what to expect and things like that. But yep, this is it. So let me just stop my recording, and then I'm just quickly going to put it on Google Classroom.